My friends, welcome to the funkiest snapshot ever. What is going on here? Very, very strange. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. This is Snapshot 18w44a, the second of Minecraft 1.14 for Java Edition. And this will probably go down as one of the most talked about snapshots ever. And no, not because of the funkiness you saw at the beginning of this video, because 10 new blocks are being added to the game. The bell, the barrel, the smoker, the blast furnace, the stonecutter, the lectern, the cartography table, the fletching table, the grindstone, and the smithing table. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that this game is going in a whole new direction. Now there is one thing that we can do, and that is check these blocks out, but unfortunately there is no right click functionality added to any of these yet. However, you guess they're going to have a UI and perform some particular functions, and so this snapshot leaves us with a lot of speculation as to what these things are going to do. But one thing we can do is check out the textures. Now this first one right here, which is the barrel, has some fantastic textures, I think, and you can rotate it in different directions, which is a nice touch. The textures, though, are really fantastic. The second one that we're looking at is the smoker. It can be rotated side to side, but it doesn't have a flip rotation like this one does over there. And again, just the textures, they can allow you to add details to your build so much better. And here's that funkiness. It's so strange. In this snapshot, it's like you place a block and then the game sort of repeats your actions a moment later. Now some of these can't actually be rotated, they always place in the same way in the world, and I think that might be a bug because it's always a good idea to be able to rotate stuff. But this one is the cartography table, so that's obviously going to have something to do with the maps and the villager that trades them. Then we have the fletching table. Obviously this has got something to do with archery. We can only speculate though. The texture on the underside is a little bit dull, like that one. That's actually why I placed these blocks up here, so we could look at their underside textures. And did I say it? But this is one of those ones that doesn't rotate yet, because I'm hoping they'll add some rotation to it. So over here we have the stonecutter, or sorry, the grindstone. This is an interesting block. You can place it in different directions. It's a nice little detail to throw down in and around a base. And you can also place it on the side of blocks and the underside as well. I'm not sure if it's possible to place it on the side and rotate it the other way as well though. Then we have the smithing table. Is this another one of those ones? Yep, it doesn't rotate. And it pretty much looks like a crafting table, but a little bit more advanced. And then we have the stonecutter. This actually exists on the Pocket Edition of the game, I believe. And so it's bringing some continuity. That's the word that I'm looking for. Eventually the idea, I believe, is that all versions will end up being the same. So all of them need the stonecutter, I guess. Then over here we have the lectern, and this is going to be for reading books. In fact, Dinnerbone has tweeted a couple of hints as to how this is going to work. A written book can be displayed on this thing. Currently not able to do that in this snapshot, and it might be done in a way where the player can actually stand here and read the text straight off the lectern, which is cool. It's also going to interact with redstone, which it doesn't do at the moment, so it'll be able to output a redstone signal when it has a book in it. And we know that that's going to be true, not only because it's been talked about on Twitter, but it also appears in the redstone tab. Last of all, we have the bell, which I assume you'll be able to ring. Can't ring by right-clicking it. Let's try that with an empty hand. Nothing happens. Something peculiar about this block, after a while it will actually just pop off. And there it goes, they pop off. Now I hope this one interacts with redstone. I think it would be really cool to have a unique bell sound and be able to power it with some redstone, you know, for like a town clock, something like that. Now obviously you're going to have an opinion on these blocks and what they could potentially do. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. This is going to be a very interesting discussion as we're yet to see the functionality, and there are certainly going to be opinions about that. But when it comes to aesthetics, I've got to say I like the majority of these blocks. I think a couple should be tweaked though, like the dark oak look at the bottom of this one. I think would look nicer if it had an edge like the loom has, and then you could mix it in with the loom and add more detail to your bookshelves. That's the way I look at these blocks. Like, not only should they be able to represent what it is that they do, they should also be able to use with other blocks, and I think a fair few of them provide that. So next up we're going to look at the new cats that have been added to the game, and we've kind of already seen this here on the channel because we covered it on the Bedrock edition of the game where it saw it first. So this is that moment where I encourage you to subscribe if you're not subscribed, because, you know, I make videos about stuff you might be interested in, like videos about Minecraft cats. We've already covered it, but we'll cover it again here on Java edition of the game. So this is the classic ocelots, and you used to tame the ocelot that spawned in the jungle biome with fish to turn it into your own tamed cat. Now they have separated from the cat mob. The cat mob is a new one. There are, I think, 9 or 10 different types of this, and they will actually spawn in villages, which is why I've come all the way out here. So you'll find stray cats in villages, and then you have to tame them. And of course, the way to tame them is with raw fish. Now, don't move your mouse too fast, or you might scare them away. This little kitty cat has now been tamed, and you can feed the ocelot fish as well, and that will make them trust you. Let's break that bit of grass. And I don't know exactly what this entails, but once they trust you, they don't run away when you make herky-jerky movements. In fact, this one was following me for a second there. That's because I was holding the fish, wasn't it? So it is said that these cats will be able to scare away phantoms, and I did some crude testing and couldn't really see that happening, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. I'm clicking on this guy with some dye, and you may notice around the neck the collar changes colour. So once you've tamed a cat, you can change the colour of the collar, which is fantastic. And we're in a little void world here because I've actually set up this right here for all of the different cat skins, and there are 10 of them in total, I believe. So we've got a new one right here. This is actually skin 0, and then they're going to go up incrementally, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 1, 2, and 3 are actually the free skins we know from the previous version of the game. So then we have another one right here. I mean, you can look at it and check them out. I like this one because it's got different coloured eyes. It's really cute. In fact, all the skins here are pretty adorable. But I think this little kitty cat over here is my favourite. And this is the 9th one. So yes, there are indeed 10 in total. And I believe they're going to be adding one more to the game, which is a community competition to add a Minecraft player's cat into the game with a cat skin. These cats make the most adorable sounds when you're trying to tame them. Oh, it's so sweet. Well, clearly the phantom isn't scared of the cat. That one just swooped in right next to these cats. Maybe that functionality hasn't been added yet. And it is said that tamed cats can give gifts in the morning to their owner. That's why I've been waiting for the night to change into day, and none of my tamed cats gave me a gift, but there's probably a lot more to it. I've only got a few of them here as well. And I also thought you might like to know that they have 5 hearts of health and a movement speed of 0.3, which is 3 times the player, and I think that's referring to when they decide to run away. So last week we got 6 new sign types, and they all had this bright white text by default. And now you are able to dye the signs with dyes by right-clicking on them. So you can go up to a sign and give it a different text color, which I think is a really, really cool idea. But obviously some of the colors are going to clash with the sign themselves, and some of them are going to end up being quite bright on the sign. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. I think this is a really cool idea, but I'm still not very fond of how bright the white text is over here. Now, I also tested this in survival mode as well, and when you break the sign, unfortunately you don't get your dye back. This next feature is something a lot of players will be asking for going into 1.14, and on the website it says added programmer art in the resource pack menu. It's the old textures, easy to use, and I think they mean all of the pre-1.14 textures, and programmer art refers to when the programmers were making the textures for the game. If we go in here though, I can't actually find it. I'm going to assume that is a bug for now. But one thing I have noticed is that packs that don't have a pack icon will now have this cobblestone texture. So now we can get into the technical features, and this stuff is fascinating. The 1.14 update is going to be epic, but check this out. There are now loot tables for the Wither mob, which is cool, for armor stands and for players as well. Now the armor stand one is just one type of armor stand, and let's just go ahead and break this thing, and we've modified it so that we get a stack of 64 diamond blocks. Now with all the conditions and special features of JSON files and all of that technical stuff, I'm sure they'll be able to do fascinating things with this. But look, you also get the armor back as well, so it doesn't affect that. So this like loot table that we can put onto the player sits on top of their inventory. And with that in mind, I've gone and put some lucky blocks into xisumavoid's inventory. If you didn't see the video on the weekend about the technical features from last update, you should go and check it out and see all the cool stuff that you can do with loot tables for blocks. But down there on the ground, you can see that there is xisumavoid's head, and if I pick it up, it says xisumavoid's head name set in the loot table, beheaded by Xisuma the killer. So the loot table can determine the name of the player and the person that kills them as well, and then transfer that into MBT data that appears on the item. This stuff, my friends, is next level. So to make it clear, the loot table is like that of a creeper. It applies to all the creepers. So the player loot table applies to all the players. And me and MSpaceDev have theorized that it might be possible to use the unique identifier of a player to create a loot table that can target specific individual players. But enough about that. We've got a couple more things to show first of all. So Minecraft 1.14 is the update that's going to change the look of the game, and from snapshot to snapshot we also got to keep our eyes peeled for texture changes. These are the ones that I'm aware of. First of all, we have stone, which is quite soft and not too different from the last one. Personally, I'm fine with that. Then we have Obsidian, which looks lovely. This feels like a mix of what we got to see last time and the very original Obsidian, and I think it's a pretty gorgeous looking block. Then we have Andesite. I'm not sure if polished Andesite changed, but this one right here, the colour and tone of the block, absolutely fine. This kind of streakiness that it has going across just really stands out for me, and I'm not keen on that, so I personally prefer the last one. Now, if you saw my last snapshot video, I went on about the sand. I really didn't like it, and I think what it's been changed to now is absolutely wonderful. The textures look really good, the colour feels right, and it's more akin to the original textures, as you can see, and the colour feels like it's going to mix in a lot better. So I am really happy with this. There's a very nice set of textures. And then last of all, we have wheat. You can see it at some of its different growth stages. It looks alright, but I think the end result is a little bit too golden and bright for my taste. Hey, there it is. So I read that there was a bug fix that pandas would now actually spawn naturally in jungle biomes, and of course I've used this little trick to locate the fella. Although he's not glowing again. Oh, there we go. So I have something to show you that I assumed I missed from last week's snapshot. The Illager beast will run away from rabbits. In this snapshot, it seems to be the other way round. Now it's not bothered by the presence of the rabbit, so that could be a bug, or maybe Mojang changed their mind about this one. And last of all, when talking about the crossbow, I kind of missed out on the fact that you load the crossbow before you shoot it, and then you can actually leave it loaded. So I can load up lots of crossbows at once and then fire them in quick succession. Let's do that. That, my friends, is pretty OP. Imagine sneaking up on another player with a hotbar full of loaded crossbars. It would be devastating, of course. And this brings us to the end of this snapshot video. If you have enjoyed it, then leave a like. It makes a difference to the channel. As always, thank you so much for helping to support the channel. And I'll also inform you that after this video goes out, I'll be streaming on twitch.tv. And at the end of that live stream, we're going to be doing a Halloween event, because it is Halloween today. And we're going to be fighting a headless horseman on my vanilla patron server. It's going to be a really interesting boss fight. Anyway, that's it from me this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.